Rob and Ram. Nobody asked, but we give you our opinions. Acknowledge us like Roman Reigns to all his minions. Coming from the grave like our name was Undertaker. Women's wrestling is cool, but where the hell is Britt Baker? Coherence takes abandon all hope. We talk shit like Ricochet from the top rope. We are marks, sometimes we're friendly. Sometimes we show our whole ass like Mandy. We are discussing what is the latest. Jericho is the GOAT, but Sid is our favorite. We are marks. We are marks.
What's going on, Marks? Welcome back to the podcast. It's the We Are Marks podcast. Why? Because we are Marks. I'm your host. My name is Ram. Rob and Bob, what's going on, gentlemen?
What's going on, America?
How is everybody doing out there?
We're doing just fine. We're going to kick off our discussion this week with AEW. Make sure they get a nice chunk of our time, since this week was a whole lot of nonsense. You know, no real major stories developing at the moment. You know, King of the Ring, whatever. We're going to start out with AEW because I honestly thought it was the more interesting product this week, believe it or not. We're going to start it out with the way AEW Dynamite started this past week. This might be a nitpicky production thing for me, but I found it really weird because I turned on Dynamite and the first thing I see is a backstage interview between Renee Paquette and Roosh. And then it cuts to the beginning of Dynamite. We get the pyro. We get Excalibur saying, "It's Wednesday. You know what that means. Welcome to AEW Dynamite." And now we're going to kick it back to our backstage correspondent, Renee Paquette, who was standing there with who? You guessed it, Roosh. I found it very odd, very weird. It's a weird way to start the show. Maybe a production faux pas, but, you know, a common theme with AEW they still haven't been able to figure out. But one thing I would like to note, maybe this can also be talked about, I thought Roosh's promo was really good. I actually genuinely liked it. It felt like an 80s backstage WWF promo, and I really dug it.
Yeah. As far as the segment, like you said, it was weird. It was odd. It felt like just a reason to try to make it a no countouts match. But like you said, they don't normally start the show with a backstage interview segment. So if that's, you know, it didn't really come across the right way. But I like Roosh. I like that they put him in this kind of opportunity. I think he's a guy that could use a little bit more spotlight. Besides just being a background character. And also it not exactly sure where it's going, but it kind of keeps the Andrade wants to be world champion situation going as well, since he was rooting for Roosh.
Yeah, I actually kind of forget what Roosh said because I just remember what Andrade said about how people like us they don't think people like us should be champions, almost like they're trying to get a babyface reaction from Andrade. So I don't really remember what Roosh said or why the promo you think is good. I do remember Andrade. I was like, you want to know what? I want to get behind Andrade so bad. And I hope when the civil war happens between the Don Callis family that him and Takeshita end up on top of that.
Well, I mean, he may split from the Don Callis family, but I don't think there's going to be any kind of alliance with Takeshita involved in that. But
I don't mean like an alliance. I mean like they just get elevated from this, not the civil war happens and then Andrade goes back to Collision. Like that's not what I want.
I don't even think there's going to be a civil war involving Andrade. I do think Takeshita is going to fight the Don Callis family until he wins or they win. But I think Andrade's just going to separate, which is ideal. That's what should happen. Just separate from the situation, get out on your own. And yeah, absolutely. I did think Roosh's promo was good. I thought Andrade's promo sucked ass, but I got what he was saying.
Maybe it's just I like Andrade.
Yeah, it could be. You know, I'd obviously prefer Andrade to be in that situation than Roosh, but nevertheless, I was impressed by Roosh. Somebody else I was impressed with, and this is another promo that I want to bring up. And this is something I will never say again, and I've never said before, but I got to give flowers where flowers are due. Mark Briscoe's promo this week was very good. It was honest to God. He sounded like a chicken farmer, absolutely. But in a way that wasn't cartoony. Like, it felt more real, and bringing up his brother, I guess, obviously adds to the allure of the realism. But listen, this is 2 promos I'm talking about from AEW that I really liked, and 2 promos from AEW from guys that I never would have said that about before. So a step in the right direction for 2 people that I'm not high on.
Yeah, I also feel like Mark Briscoe's the perfect kind of guy to do this television world title match with, because typically, obviously, the person doesn't win, and Mark Briscoe's at a level that he can lose, and people are still going to cheer for Mark Briscoe. I know we aren't always as high on him, but I feel like the majority of fans seem to get behind the guy, and he can cut a he can do his shtick like he did last week in a promo and get people behind him. And maybe some people in the back of their mind, what if Mark Briscoe pulls it off? So I think he's the perfect candidate for that role.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Ram that this is the first promo in AEW that I've seen Mark Briscoe do that was worth listening to, other than him stammering and yammering and hammer jammering. So I liked it. I thought it was a little long-winded, but I get the point of why it was long-winded. But Mark Briscoe, it depends what they do next. I just don't see him being this guy. He brought up his brother, he brought up, God and stuff like that. I don't see Mark Briscoe doing too many of these after this is over.
But to Bob's point, we did see Darby Allin win the world title, so
I was going to say that too.
That Mark Briscoe
and supposedly Max is hurt, so that'll add some intrigue, I suppose.
Is MJF always hurt? Like, I feel like MJF wrestles for 3 months and then he gets hurt.
Well, I mean, everybody's hurt, but is he injured? That's the question.
All right, coach.
Does he have the heart? All right. Well, the Owen Cup, talking about the women, as predicted, Mercedes Moné was the wild card. So, sorry, Rob, but your Brawling Bird's not going to be the women's world champion anytime soon, because Moné did win her first round match. Again, as expected. I have a little bit of, here's my issue with this, is that the original bracket came out, Willow Nightingale was in it, and Mercedes Moné was not. Now Mercedes Moné is in it because Willow Nightingale's hurt. And I find this interesting because now whatever the plan was for Mercedes coming back, that story's gone. They just pretty much halted whatever the story was going to be with her coming back. And she's just in the Owen Cup. And she got a nice reaction, but I can't help but feel like there was something bigger supposed to happen than showing up as the wild card in the Owen Cup. And I don't think there's a single person who doesn't assume she's going to win.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. That was my thoughts on this whole thing. I get where you're coming from the Mercedes, what the plan was for a return, but my thought also is who was planned to win, because it wasn't Mercedes. Unless it was Willow, I guess you could just insert and have Mercedes win. But typically AEW sticks to the plan. So that leads me to believe either they're hiding that Willow wasn't actually hurt, or plans are going to change, or Mercedes is going to lose at some point and she's not actually going to be the one to face Tekla. But yeah, that's definitely the biggest story, I feel like, that's not in a storyline about this tournament right now.
You're muted.
I think Mercedes Moné is not going to win this. I think Athena now is going to win this, because give Athena the belt, damn it. She's been the women's champion forever. I think she's called the forever champion now. And I think she's going to win it. And I think Mercedes Moné eventually will win this belt. But I think she's going to win the forever belt too, because why have 12 belts when you can have one forever? Just saying.
I guess, yeah. I don't know. I can't believe that they would have Mercedes come back and be the wild card and not win, if I'm being honest. I think Mercedes being in the what is the women's main event at All In makes all the sense in the world. As much as I love Athena, it doesn't make a lot of sense for her because I've seen her 3 times this year, maybe. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense to have her in that spot. And that is no offense. I think she absolutely deserves it and she should be, but just from like a storyline perspective, a storytelling perspective, it doesn't make a ton of sense because, I mean, for all intents and purposes, she's a Ring of Honor wrestler, not an AEW wrestler. So I think if Athena were to win this, she would lose.
Well, also, Mercedes Moné is the biggest star in the women's division, or second 1B to Tony Storm, depending on how you view that. I just feel like at All In, you got to have your star in the big match. So I think it's got to be Mercedes, unless you do something where it's a triple threat.
The only thing I'm going to say about that is Monet versus Thekla. I mean, we've talked about it already. I just don't see how that will work.
Well, you could do the triple threat. I mean, they've never done that before in this tournament. So I mean, you could do something where maybe Mercedes loses or they split or however it works and get yourself to a triple threat if you're worried about that dynamic.
Just based off of the crowd we saw this week on Dynamite, I mean, she got a babyface reaction, so she very well could be, the entire crowd behind her against Thekla. So I'm not sure though. I wouldn't make Mercedes a babyface, but it is it's definitely something that could be done.
Everyone's a babyface when they come back.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it would be easier to make Mercedes a babyface than it was to make Charlotte Flair a babyface, and that did happen. So
with the AEW crowd, like the AEW crowd, the WWE crowd, little bit different. With the AEW crowd, you can definitely get Mercedes over as a babyface, 100%. Just the only issue there is that she cannot cut a babyface promo. There is no babyface promo in her. But you could definitely just like somehow make her like she's fighting from underneath, which is kind of ironic just because of her character, but you could pull that off somehow.
Yeah, and she's a great wrestler who did wrestle in all those indies, which is something that for sure would, the AEW crowd's going to respect that. So like you said, I think it's certainly possible.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Will Ospreay won his semifinal match. He's moving on to the finals of the King of the Ring, the Owen Cup. The Owen Cup. And it's going to be Swerve or Brody. I think there isn't a single fan in wrestling who thinks Brody King is winning this match. So we're going to get Ospreay and Swerve, more than likely. And this is, I mean, listen, if you want to have a championship of a tournament, this is the way to go, because realistically, either of them could win, theoretically.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting matchup. And I also was thinking, I mean, I'm going to go of the belief that Will Ospreay's going to win and head to All In and not have Swerve included in the main event. I think with this Death Riders involvement with Will Ospreay, I think another interesting match that could happen at All In would be Moxley and Swerve. I think that would be a great match, and two guys that certainly could tell a story. So I kind of hope that's the direction that we leave the end of the Owen Cup with.
Yeah, I mean, we've kept on saying Will Ospreay's winning this. There's no doubt about it. Swerve versus Ospreay is going to be Swerve versus Ospreay. That's a 6-star match in the Tokyo Dome. I mean, so I just don't see anyone beating Will Ospreay. They built him up. They gave him character now. Will Ospreay is Will Ospreay. I hope he gets better telling a story with his ring work. And he has been. So we'll see what happens next.
It's a little tough with his in-ring work. I gotta be honest.
Right.
He's the king of the no sell. He is the king
And yeah.
of taking a big move, no selling it, and going right into another move, which has always been the thing that frustrated me the most about him. And it's tough to like make him like your top baby face when he's no selling the big
no
move,
selling, right.
because it's what's that?
When he's no
Yeah.
selling, yeah.
Yeah, it's very tough. It's very tough. So but to that point, I do think the Ospreay story has been very good, and that's for one major reason. And somebody that we have to talk about, the more and more I watch AEW, the more and more I feel this way. He's not going to win Wrestler of the Year pretty much ever since, a couple of years ago, maybe, but he'll probably never have the best match of the year. He'll probably never have the best feud of the year. But Jon Moxley is the MVP of professional wrestling. There is not a single soul on any roster who means more to his company than Jon Moxley. My man can sell. He could sell bristles to a broomstick or ice to a Eskimo. You know what I mean? Like, he is phenomenal, the most valuable player in professional wrestling. Jon Moxley, my God, he like we're talking about right now. This Ospreay story has been good 100% because of the involvement in Jon Moxley. And I go back to when this first started, when Ospreay came back, and we were like, oh shit, they just made Moxley right back into the old heel he was doing before. We were completely 100% wrong. The way they 180'd it back into the Moxley that we're getting, fantastic job. This is the A1 character in professional wrestling right now.
Completely agree. He's the ace. Just tremendous storyteller, most interesting character in the company, I think by a large margin. And this is the second year in a row. Last year with Hangman Page, and now with Will Ospreay, that he is potentially making the main eventer of All In a far more interesting character. He's not going to be the one that puts him over, but he's the one that's certainly making Ospreay out of this.
Yeah, I said during our draft, I think I drafted him like second round. I said he was Mr. AEW, and he is. And we talked about after All In, we thought the Death Riders were going to close up shop and they were going to go their separate ways. I'm really glad they didn't, because Jon Moxley is still out there trying to make AEW better. And he's taken the star that everyone says is the best wrestler in AEW, and he's trying to turn him into a professional wrestler. And I am all for Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley, as Ram said, is the most valuable person to AEW, and he's probably the most valuable person to any company, because CM Punk's been gone for 2 months. Randy Orton's been gone for 2 months. Roman Reigns comes and goes as he pleases. Cody Rhodes, maybe, but without Jon Moxley, AEW would not be where they're at right now.
I mean, you can go to all those names you just said from WWE. You take any one of those away, and they're just a spoke on the wheel. There's a spoke on the wheel, as CM Punk said. The machine is gonna keep spinning. You take Jon Moxley away from AEW, that Hangman story last year at All In flops. This Will Ospreay thing, we're not bought in quite as much. Absolutely not. And when you talk about a veteran in your locker room getting people over, I talked about when Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble in January, about how this guy does not care about the business. He does not care about helping make the next future star. That's why we don't have one, because he was the man on top and he did not have any interest in helping bring anybody up with him. Whereas Jon Moxley is doing everything he can to propel the future of AEW, and it's fantastic. What a guy.
Yeah. Did you guys see him on the morning show where he's talking about how you're supposed to gouge an eye out?
No, I did not.
If you're bored, look up this segment. He's literally going in detail about how you're supposed to grab the back of the skull and use your thumb and push it in. And the lady gets so uncomfortable about it. And it's hilarious.
Oh my gosh. I got one more point from AEW I want to bring up, and that is the newest member of the Don Callis family, the Jet, Kevin Knight. I see Rob shaking his head, and I think I have a very similar sentiment. I don't like it. I don't like the heel turn. I thought I was going to. I was excited about it. I don't like the heel turn. I hate that he joined the Don Callis family. And I thought that match against Speedball Mike Bailey absolutely sucked. And that is a shame.
Yeah, I'm not as against the heel turn. I am against the Don Callis family joining it, especially
I think
right
that's my
now.
problem. I think that's my
Yeah,
problem with it.
I think because I really enjoyed the promo the first week after Double or Nothing. I thought coming out, the Jet, everything. I liked the vibe of it. But joining the Don Callis family, especially now, I think if they had done the Civil War of the Don Callis family and tried to rebuild a Don Callis family around him, that would have been one thing. But having him be part of this 20-man unit, I don't think puts the right spotlight on him, especially when it's a group that has Fletcher, Takeshita, well, not Takeshita anymore, but Okada and Andrade, who are also three guys in higher but similar roles to him that need a spotlight put on them as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you guys. Me and Bob talked last week. We were all for the heel turn, and I believe it was the next morning. I'm watching Dynamite, and Don Callis goes, and the newest member of the Don Callis family. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Sure enough, here he comes with the Don Callis family, and I just groaned. Like, the heel turn was good. I want to see Kevin Knight on his own. I want to see what the kid can do. And you're just gonna put him in the Don Callis family. You want to talk about spokes on the wheel? Oh my God, there's enough spokes for two wheels at the Don Callis family. Where's he going to get in the pecking order? Because you got four guys on top in the pecking order. Like, he's way down there. Top it all off, he's your TNT champion. That's supposed to be your secondary belt, even though you got like 8 of them now. It's supposed to be a secondary champion, and he's just in a group now. He's not going to speak. He's not going to say anything. He's just going to be a voice, a face in the background, while Don Callis is fighting with Takeshita.
And on that note about the TNT title, because they dropped a little seed with Don Callis saying that he's going to be the greatest TNT champion of all time, which obviously Kyle Fletcher was also a TNT champion. So it's like this little dissension. And I mean, if the short-term plan is to turn Kyle Fletcher a babyface, maybe there's something there. But I don't want to do another run of this Don Callis family versus Don Callis family, but they don't hate each other. They're going to be on the same team. They're all going to pretend to be on the same team after the match for the title. If you're going to do a split, if Fletcher's going to turn babyface or something to try to get that title back, even though he's got other stuff going on, it's one thing, but I don't like that it seems like we're leading to these matches that then they stay on the same team.
Yeah. I liked Don Callis when it was just him and Kenny Omega. That was a good.
That was the best.
And
I love him with Hechicero.
Now we're to the point where he's just he gets the most screen time of absolutely anybody, and it's insane.
He's got to figure out what's going on with his dentures.
Also,
they keep falling.
If you're a heel, you're in the Don Callis family.
Yeah,
it's like almost mandatory that you're in the Don Callis family.
You're either in the Don Callis family or working with the Don Callis family.
Right. Yeah, you are. Except for Swerve.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, we're going to have to see how the wheels keep turning in AEW, and we'll start talking about some WWE. Guys, my favorite thing that happened in WWE this week, speaking of a guy getting more screen time than anybody, Chad Gable is back as himself in WWE and Monday Night Raw. The entire show was a full runner of Chad Gable getting over as a babyface. I mean, listen, the last time we saw Chad Gable without the mask, he was like a piece of shit heel. Piece of shit heel. He said some really mean things to Otis and Tozawa, and then he started fighting luchadors, and we hated him for that because he was trying to steal masks. And then he puts a mask on himself, and we hate him then. He's El Grande Americano, and this son of a bitch. And then he loses that mask versus mask match. He comes back, and immediately, an entire show, one show, got Chad Gable back over as a babyface. That's how good he is. I mean, one of the best in the ring in the world, absolutely. And just to see the reception he got immediately, as soon as they showed his face for the first time, a nice reception for Chad Gable. And that moment where he saved Rey Mysterio from showing his face, even though we've seen Rey Mysterio's face a lot of times, that moment where he saved Rey Mysterio's face, the crowd went bananas. It was great. Chad Gable, hey, welcome back,
Yeah, I thought obviously having Gable back is definitely a positive. He's incredible. I did think saving Ray and seemingly kind of creeping in, hopefully, to that Intercontinental title picture with the crew that he was defending Ray from was great. The only thing, and I understand it, the story, he needs to do something, but I really hope that this doesn't become he apologizes to Otis and Tozawa,
He's definitely gonna.
and then, well, that part, whatever, but don't join that group again. Chad
Yeah.
Gable is so much better than being part of that goofy group. And I really hope that that's not the end goal here. Keep it with the Intercontinental title. I think he would be a tremendous champion. I don't need Alpha Academy back together doing the worm and goofy shit.
Yeah, I was worried because Bob said last week when you're a goofy wrestler, you're usually a goofy wrestler for life. And I think Chad Gable's redemption arc started the Mask versus Max match, that promo he gave afterwards. People in Mexico loved it. And I was like, you want to know what? I'm going to get behind this guy. Is such a great wrestler. I love him. I hope, really hope they push him after this. Maybe the Intercontinental title. He's not world championship material because he's just not that guy. But he could definitely win the IC United States title. I don't even know. Is Trick Williams still a United States champion, right?
Yeah.
You know, can you imagine a feud, Trick Williams and Chad Gable? I also heard he's about to do Real American Fighting. So Real American Freestyle, rather. I heard that rumor floating around that he wants to try his hands at some real graps. So that'd be fun.
He was an Olympian.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, listen, if he was 4 inches taller, he's 100%. He could be a 6-time world champion.
Absolutely. Yeah. But he's not. He's not Kurt Angle. It sucks.
I was thinking that. I was like, how much shorter is he than Kurt Angle? Because if he was Kurt Angle's height, he would probably just be a similar guy to Kurt Angle.
It might be 6 inches. He might be 5'8". Kurt Angle's like 6'2", so
I don't believe that.
When I worked
11.
When I worked at the PPL Center, I worked an event and Chad Gable walked by, and he is incredibly short.
Yeah,
incredibly short.
That's
all those years of cutting weight.
It doesn't help.
So all those wrestlers. So Kurt Angle is officially listed at 6 feet tall. Exactly.
6 feet.
6 feet.
Chad Gable. I'm gonna say Chad Gable's 5'8".
Yeah, he's 5'8".
So we'll go 4 inches.
Because he was noticeably shorter than me.
Story of my life, 4 inches bigger. Cut that.
Chad Gable is listed at 5 feet 8 inches tall.
That's what I thought.
And if that's what he's listed at, he might be like 5'6".
Yeah. That's very true. Yeah. So hey, welcome back to Chad Gable. That's fantastic. All right, we got the King and the Queen of the Ring tournaments going on right now. Did you guys talk about how Liv Morgan's in the Queen of the Ring tournament last week?
Yeah.
Did you bring that
briefly?
Up?
Yeah. I think that based on what happened, they chose the one that we were kind of hoping they wouldn't. But I think that it seems like it's being built towards Raquel and Liv, and maybe we're finally finally overdue getting the turn of the Judgment Day. But my thought is that Raquel's probably going to win this tournament now and face Liv at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Oh,
I
yeah, she could choose. She gets to choose, doesn't she?
yeah.
Yeah.
So it might be that. I really just don't want Raquel Rodriguez to be anywhere near a championship, but it is what it is. You know, if that's the story they want to tell, the Judgment Day does have to stop. You know,
Yeah.
we're talking about Dom being Money in the Bank winner, and if Money in the Bank's in October this year, ridiculous. But we're talking about Dom being Money in the Bank and stuff like that. I want him and Liv to be on their separate ways and have the other 5 just be done.
I will say from whatever our thoughts are on Raquel herself, the utilizing this as a way to actually make the match interesting at SummerSlam would be like the most creative way they've done this tournament, because typically it's, other than Cena and Cody, it's just been someone wins the tournament and then you got whatever 4 weeks to build a match. So I do think that this would be interesting. I kind of wish it was Roxanne, obviously, but
Yeah. I was thinking about Roxanne the other day because I was thinking about how Sol Ruca, being the Intercontinental Champion right now, having won 0 matches before winning the Intercontinental Championship. And I'm like, it's an absolute crime that Roxanne Perez was never put into that position, that she was never put into the Intercontinental Championship position, and Sol Ruca is the Intercontinental Champion right now. That's a damn crime.
even Lyra, I mean, Lyra won the title for a couple. I mean, she was totally, pushed down the ladder by Becky on that one. But, she's another one. You watch her on Monday, it's like, why couldn't that have been a lot better title reign than it was?
Because Lyra, no one cared about Lyra.
I
Honestly, and I did too. I like Lyra Valkyria, but she got no crowd reaction. Go back and watch that. And I feel like
Some of that's the crap they had her do, those Becky steppers and all that stuff. I mean, they made her a bum.
And that's the thing. And I feel like the women's Intercontinental title, without Becky Lynch attached to it, is just gonna be the women's Intercontinental title. Like, it's not gonna elevate anybody like it should.
Well, it seems like their plan to get prestige on the mid card titles just seems to be, we're going to have as many title matches as we possibly can. And with the U.S. Open Challenge, and then Penta's doing open challenges, and now this Intercontinental title is just being defended immediately after being won. It seems like that's their plan with this title, and then they can pretty much just change it whenever they want because they're having so many title matches.
And that is true, but I look at Penta with the Intercontinental title, that he keeps on winning, and it, for some strange reason, it feels right that Penta has the Intercontinental title, right? I don't feel like any other title, secondary title that somebody has, that it feels right with. I don't even know who's the women's US champion, Chelsea Green? She get it back?
Tiffany.
Oh, it's Tiffany. Oh yeah, that's right. It's Tiffany now. Yeah, see, speaking of Tiffany, she keeps getting worse in the ring. I don't know how this is happening, but she's like de-elevating herself, and it's getting terrible.
Some of it, though, on the Intercontinental title, it's the way that it was booked, and I don't understand why they're so afraid of just having someone beat another person. Becky, she took care of Lyra, and then what happens? She went back and forth with AJ, which kind of diminished the idea that someone was going to knock off this top person for the title. Then Becky gets the title back, and instead of just having Soul beat her, she had to lose in that goofy ass match at Saturday night's main event. And then even when she beat her at the pay-per-view, it's got to be the ref gets involved, and Becky had her at one point. It's like, it would actually mean something to do this if they could just let it be clean, as if that's going to ruin Becky Lynch. I don't understand that philosophy.
Yeah. I totally agree. Don't understand that philosophy either. I thought Soul should have won matches and then won the Intercontinental title. And again, clean probably would have had a lot more impact than what we got. But here we are. So anyway, so I guess Bob predicted Raquel was going to win the Queen of the Ring. I mean, just looking at the field, I guess that does make the most sense. Rob, how do you feel about it?
I mean, I guess if that's what we're going with, as long as it's not Nia Jax, I'm okay.
Well, there was part of me that was like, maybe Liv wins, and it's Liv and Rhea at SummerSlam. That's a pretty big match, but you guys did hit me with the Charlotte Flair prediction a few weeks ago. So if that's what's happening, then it does make the most sense for Raquel to win here and
I mean,
Liv.
Charlotte hasn't had a title match in like 2 years. She's due.
Yeah, I mean, totally fine with that.
To be clear, predictions are subject to change.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have official predictions coming up with the Night of Champions, right? That's what the Saudi show calls.
Yeah,
we'll have official predictions. Don't worry, but these are just preliminary predictions. What about the men's? What do you guys think? Oba's moving on. Oba and Dom, and Javon Evans is facing whoever wins on SmackDown.
I don't know, honestly. I kind of think LA Knight is going to win, but it seems like a pick 'em right now. I don't think Dom's going to win, but that's really the only one I can write off. I think Oba's got a chance, but this Brock thing keeps lingering, and they could do Jay and Cody.
I've said it once. I'm going to say it again. And I really mean it this time. I think Oba's going to win King of the Ring. I think Brock Lesnar is going to win that title. And I think this is how Brock Lesnar's career ends. Oba beating him for that title.
You think Brock Lesnar is going to win which title? Cody's title?
Cody's title.
How is he getting involved in that?
It's Brock fucking Lesnar. Who cares? Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I just can't see that. I do absolutely see Oba getting screwed by Brock Lesnar, probably in the championship. So I'm going to rule out Dom. I'm going to say Oba does beat Dom. That brings me to Javon Evans, the young OG, against... I think LA Knight makes the most sense just based off of the stories that are being told on television. But because of that, I also see the Bloodline perhaps screwing LA Knight, which makes me go, is Javon Evans about to face Roman Reigns at SummerSlam? Could Javon Evans win this tournament?
And honestly, and that's another reason I thought of Oba is I'm looking at who's left. And you're right, LA Knight is the one who makes the most sense other than Oba. But LA Knight's not going to, he's been messing with the bloodline. He's not making it. So you have Dominic Mysterio versus Javon Evans. Dominic Mysterio should not lose his first title match. It would probably be Javon Evans versus Roman Reigns. And I'm not going to lie, I can't take that seriously at all.
I can't imagine the way Javon won that this is the build to him getting a match for the title at SummerSlam. I mean, the first thing Michael Cole said after what was supposed to be Javon Evans' biggest win is Seth Rollins just got screwed by the Vision again. I mean, they didn't even make that about Javon that he won. I don't think this is the start of something.
Okay. Now I'm gonna look at the other guys in the final fatal 4-way. I mean, Royce Keys.
He just lost to Talatonga.
And Finn Balor.
I mean, that's the one I'd like to see.
And that's another one, too. I could see Finn Balor winning the King of the Ring and trying to get redemption for flopping like a fish the last time he faced Roman.
Well, the ropes broke.
He flopped like a fish before the ropes broke.
Finn would face Cody, most likely, but...
Hey, Finn and Cody sounds awesome.
I'd
Yeah.
I'd take a Finn Balor title. Not a title, but a
Finn
title
would be the
match.
best one. And if this championship is gonna be Oba, like if it's just gonna be basically a segment where it's all about Brock and Oba, at least give us somebody that we want to see win. Don't have it be fucking Jey Uso if this is gonna not even be a very good match because it's all gonna be about Brock.
Yeah. We're actually all saying this wrong because it's not going to be Cody because Gunther's going to beat him at Night of Champions.
I was about to say, I'm really hoping Gunther wins at SummerSlam or
Let's
Night of
get the
Champions or
train going.
something.
Let's get the train going on that. Yeah. I mean, just looking at it on the women's side again. I mean, Charlotte could win. Charlotte could win this, actually. Now I'm looking at it. If you guys want to get to Rhea and Charlotte, that could be how it happens.
Without turning on Alexa Bliss?
Yeah, why does she need to turn on Alexa Bliss?
I'm just saying, are you going to have Charlotte, the babyface, go after her title?
I don't see Charlotte winning this because I just think with Liv in the tournament, it's got to be someone that's going to face Liv.
Yeah, you would think. But I mean, we're talking about Jade and Charlotte are both in this.
I think Charlotte gets screwed by that crew, or they do
Okay.
some sort of crap between the two of them.
Very interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe Io wins.
Yeah, could be Io. I mean, couldn't. Oh, Io against Rhea.
Ooh.
Now we're getting somewhere.
I mean,
Io's never beaten Rhea.
No, Rhea's never beaten Io.
Rio's never beaten Io. Rio's never beaten Io. There we go.
You did not say that right again.
I know. I was being funny that time. I was actually going to follow it up with EIEIO, but, you know.
I don't think Rio's beaten Rhea either.
Maybe. Never know.
What's funny is they were calling their tag team. We didn't bring this up back then. Yeah. I wish we would have brought it up. They were calling themselves Rio. And I was like, wait a minute. Isn't that copywritten? All right.
I got to be honest, totally forgot about Rio until we just had this conversation.
Yeah, true that. All right, guys, two of the biggest names coming out of WrestleMania. Randy Orton, CM Punk, they were the losers of the main events of WrestleMania, and we haven't really seen them very much since. I think Punk was out for a promo on the next night of Monday Night Raw, and I'm not sure we've seen him since. What the hell's going on here?
Well, it seems like Orton is hurt, so I don't know when that was figured out. I don't know why he punted Cody and anything that happened night one. You can listen back to our review. We didn't know then, and we still are a little bit unsure why any of that went the way it did. As far as Punk, Rob and I actually, before we started, we were talking about this. I just don't understand why they did the Cody and Punk face off to then go 2 months without him being on the show. But he is sorely missed.
Well, if you believe all the internet people, they are really mad at CM Punk so much that CM Punk's about to go back to AEW. I think Punk just needed some time off. You talk about a guy who wrestled week in, week out, and I mean, Punk's almost 50, and week in, week out, he was wrestling. So I think he just wanted a break. They don't really have a need for him right now. So I just think they gave him time off. As far as Randy Orton goes, I still say that they just want to get rid of Pat McAfee. Then that stinks. So
I'm going to level with you. I think CM Punk is very needed.
I was going to say this.
Very needed.
Yeah, but where would he fit right now? Like that, and that's what I was thinking. Like, where would you put CM Punk in this?
Literally
anywhere he wants to.
Literally anywhere.
Well, right now he wants to be on his couch, obviously.
Just give him 15 minutes on the TV every week, and the show will be better. That's all.
I mean, the way Michael Cole's the job he's been doing, he could be on commentary.
Oh my
God!
on
commentary.
You want to know what? You're right. Just put him on commentary. He could be a lot better than Michael Cole. Ugh.
Yeah, I saw a post, maybe it was yesterday, and it said, "Is Michael Cole the best commentator in the history of pro wrestling?"
Yeah,
The,
those are
the,
people
the
that
answer is
didn't.
no. The answer is
Yeah.
no. But where does he fall just in terms of WWE? Where does he fall in terms of commentators for you guys? List them off. Number one,
Well, number one's got to be for me. I mean,
JR.
JR.
Gotta be
I mean,
JR.
you
Are
guys
we
can say
including
that.
color?
You guys can say
Yeah.
that, but man, Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby
Well-
Heenan together, go back and watch those WrestleManias.
Yeah, well,
because
see,
that's some boring ass stuff, and they make it so much better.
for me, it's JR and then Gorilla Monsoon. That's 1,
Yeah.
2 for me.
I would put-
The color guy's tough because, you know, like King was entertaining for his time, but Bobby Heenan was timeless. So, you know, like the things Jerry Lawler was doing, you could not do the things he was doing in 2026. If Bobby Heenan rose from the dead and wanted to come back and do color, he could definitely pull it off.
Yeah, I'd go Gorilla Monsoon, JR, Bobby Heenan. I would put the King there just because the Attitude Era, I mean, that
Yeah.
was my childhood. And I might put Michael Cole fifth,
No way.
but he's far from Gorilla Monsoon.
Vince McMahon, sir. Vince McMahon's
No,
got to be above
no.
Michael Cole.
Not
Vince
not
McMahon's
not on
gotta be above
commentary.
what a maneuver!
Not on
Come on.
He never used the moves ever. It's just, oh, what a maneuver. I forget what pay-per-view it was. It might have been SummerSlam. But Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, was on commentary with him. And he goes, oh, what a maneuver. And Mr. Perfect would actually say the moves. And you could just hear it in Vince's voice how pissed off he's getting at Mr. Perfect for doing this shit.
All right, where does Excalibur fall?
The greatest mass commentator of all time? Man. And so here's the problem with JR, because like our JR and the JR now are two entirely different people.
Oh yeah.
So like
So you
we
can't
got
you can't Aaron Rodgers JR and
right, but
pretend
like
he is.
as Ram said, Bobby Heenan could come back from the dead this right now and be like, and he'd still be great. JR right now is like old man
Well-
yelling at kids because they're playing too hard on the street.
And not
Like,
if
that's what I feel
listen, if Bobby Heenan came back as an 85-year-old man, I don't think he'd be pulling it off. But if he rose from the dead as prime Bobby Heenan, he could 100% do what he was doing then. Now, if we
I
had,
think JR now might be even better because it's a more athletic presentation of the show, and that was one of his strong suits. So I actually think JR in 2026, the 1999 2000 JR would be better now.
oh hell yeah.
Oh,
He was-
yeah. Well, he'd still probably complain that people flip too much.
Prime JR would be sick right now. By the way, yesterday my wife took my oldest two to see not a movie, but the series finale of the show that they liked. They went to see it in the movie theater. So I was home alone with Brady, and he wanted to watch the match, The Undertaker against Mankind in the Hell in a Cell
Hell in a Cell.
at King of the Ring 98. Iconic calls by JR. Absolutely iconic. I was getting goosebumps. I couldn't stop watching. I was like, this is just like peak childhood right here. This is all.
You guys got to look up. I forget who does it, but it's Hell is in Pittsburgh Tonight. The guy literally makes a song just using JR's commentary from Hell in the Cell 1997. It is hilarious and it is perfect.
Sick. Very interesting. All right, final point. I guess we got to talk about whatever the hell is happening in the bloodline. Obviously, Roman Reigns not on the show this week. So what we're getting right now is the Usos trying to boss around Jacob Fatu, and Jacob Fatu not about it. See, this is what I was talking about. Jacob Fatu's not just being a bitch boy. Absolutely not. He's doing his family duty while also being Jacob Fatu. That's great. And eventually he's going to get built up by Roman to tear Roman down, and it's going to be a brilliant story. I know Bob doesn't want me to write the story, before the story's being told. But just based off of the chapter I've read so far, I'm very intrigued.
Yeah. Obviously, we'll see. I just feel like the bloodline right now is a huge part of this show, which is just retread stuff, and that's my problem with it. It's the same. I mean, we didn't really talk too much about Cody and Gunther, but Cody's in the middle of the same storyline that we've seen 3 out of his last 4 defenses, which is him, the heel getting screwed, and then we get to the point that they ultimately have to win. Kevin Owens failed. Drew McIntyre did. I feel the same way with the bloodline, where we saw this stuff 2 years ago. Take out Jacob Fatu, add Sami Zayn. Someone's getting bullied around until Roman comes back and straightens things out again. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with Ram. I think this is great. I think this is how we build up Jacob Fatu. I mean, we tried to do it with Solo, but Solo just wasn't good enough. Jacob Fatu has more charisma, and like you just see it in his face. He does not want to do this. He's only doing this because he has to. And eventually, the only problem I have with this is Michael Cole, as soon as he does snap on Roman, is going to be like, the full moon is out tonight, or something stupid of that nature that involves a werewolf. But I do believe that eventually Jacob's going to snap and he's going to be Jacob Fatu. And that's what's going to happen here. And I'm all for it.
Solo Sikoa is very entertaining. Solo Sikoa is
Solo Sikoa is very entertaining.
He's
it's
so
not
fun.
what they wanted him to do.
No, absolutely not. He's not like someone I see being a world champion, unless it's like the world champion the way The Miz was a world champion.
Right. I shouldn't say he's not charismatic.
He is highly entertaining.
Yeah, what they wanted was not going to work for Solo. That's all.
No.
It is hilarious that 2 matches, I feel like in 10 years, we're going to look back, maybe not even 10, 5 right now, and think, how the hell did that happen? Austin Theory beating John Cena at WrestleMania and Solo Sikoa beating John Cena at whatever the Saudi show was called.
Oh, I remember that. He murdered
John Cena.
He straight up killed him.
Murked him.
And Brock
used the Solo Sikoa game plan when he faced John Cena.
Yeah, he straight up killed him.
Yeah, murked his ass. Yeah, very interesting. It is always interesting to go back and watch some of that old shit and just kind of like, I forget what I was looking at recently, but there was a match on the show. It was like a street fight between like Seth Rollins and like some lower mid card guy, and I was like, what the hell was this doing on a pay-per-view? And why was Seth Rollins in a street fight with this guy? I was like, what is happening here?
I also completely forgot that. I forget what WrestleMania was. It might have been 38 or 39. Where Seth Rollins faced Logan Paul at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I walked in and it was playing. And I was like, wait, what? Completely forgot about that.
Yep. Very interesting. All right, gentlemen. Did I miss anything that you feel like bringing up today?
No, it's been a very slow week.
Good. Love to hear it. That means I hit all of the points. We'll be back next week. We probably have a pay-per-view to predict next week, probably, right?
Forbidden Door?
Is that next weekend?
When's Night of Champions or whatever it's called?
That's a good question.
Somebody has something going on.
Night of Champions 2026 takes place on Saturday, June 27th. So that's the weekend after. And Forbidden Door 2026 is June 28th. So they're on the same weekend. So we do not have a pay-per-view to predict next weekend. It's the weekend after.
2 weeks, yeah.
2 weeks. So I guess we'll be back next week, and hopefully they give us some more things to talk about that we can really sink our teeth into. Brother, oh my God, what a maneuver. And until then, enjoy wrestling.
Bob brought the ram.